Hi, I'm Martin. I help small and medium companies just like yours to start a cybersecurity journey so they can improve their cybersecurity posture without the unnecessary extra hustle. Every industry is operationally different and has different cybersecurity needs. The cybersecurity requirements used to keep hospital patient records confidential are not the same as the regulations for keeping bank customers' personal information secure. In many instances, cybersecurity regulations overlap across industries. Cybersecurity basics like encryption, data storage and transmission, breach response plans, etc. are fairly common across standards. But what systems and operations must be secured and how is specific to the standard. Cybersecurity compliance is not just good business policy. For certain industries, it is the law. Certain industries that regularly deal with sensitive personal information such as healthcare or finance are highly regulated. The cybersecurity standards we'll review are far from exhaustive, although they are the most common. Standards vary by industry, country, region, and may be required by law. Knowing what standards exist for your industry in all the locations you operate can be difficult to discover and often requires consulting with a cybersecurity expert. This fact turns out to be very helpful in many cases when it comes to the cybersecurity implementation in your organization, as the legislation across European Union member and associated states tends to be harmonized. Therefore, each country adopts its law based on international frameworks. In Europe, the most common one is ISO 27000 series of standards, which many countries adopt as a national law. Sure, there could be many peculiarities around cybersecurity law implementation in a particular country, but in most cases there are much more similarities rather than differences. You should also consider international regulations if your business collaborates with neighboring countries or globally. Special attention should be dedicated to GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, the EU-wide regulation aiming to harmonize the way companies protect PII, personal identifiable information, which they could gather to enable their business processes. Bad security practices around PII could lead to massive hacks of people and could threaten their rights. Thus, if now you might not feel the burden of GDPR in your country, yet it is a matter of time when you will. Needless to say, if you operate in the European Union, then GDPR compliance is a must. Another crucial piece of legislation is NIS2 directive. Even though the NIS2 directive is not currently enforced, it will become enforceable a year from now or even earlier, depending on the time when you watch this video. The directive requires organizations to take appropriate measures to manage their network and information system security risks. Organizations must ensure that all networks and information systems used for processing personal data are secure and must also carry out regular risk assessments for their IT infrastructure, with a focus on potential cybersecurity threats. In addition, organizations are encouraged to put in place technical measures to protect their networks from cyber attacks and unauthorized access. Once the NIS2 directive becomes enforceable, organizations that fail to comply could face serious financial penalties. So it is important for them to start preparing as soon as possible. A how-to guide on how to perform a legal and regulatory check. First, identify a regulator and the law. Identify and contact your regulators to define all applicable laws and regulations, which include IT and security topics. Do you have business activities in other countries? For instance, data center located abroad, or you use cloud provider services? Where is your customer located? Foreign regulation may apply, for instance, GDPR for European Union citizens and personal data protection. Second, extract requirements from laws and regulations. Review the requirements which you have from your partners, clients, and other stakeholders. Define the list of requirements which you need to follow and identify if there are any conflictual opposing requirements. Keep a track of all requirements. Define the responsible person to monitor and review changes in the laws and regulations. Define who is responsible to react and maintain compliance with all requirements. Consider consulting an expert when required. What are the compliance checks you need to expect, and what is the risk of not being compliant? Information and cybersecurity regulations have always been around, but with the rise of supply chain attacks, smaller businesses are getting regulated as well. because bigger players don't want to do business with vulnerable partners, which cyber attacks could hit them. Compliance doesn't equal security. Sometimes it's hard to optimize compliance efforts in synchronization with security practices, but also it could get inefficient or simply too much spendings and too much efforts for the value. Study the full context of your legal obligations to make a wise decision. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.